mentioned the absence of letters, but there were no paintings or illustrations there in the future either. As I said before, we had devices that, when attached to your head, could show us music or visuals. Those visuals, however, were unlike anything in the real world, so perhaps they could be considered similar to a picture. But since coming here, I was surprised to see various pictures or objects, if that's what they are called, displayed or placed on walls and around spaces. In the future, we used simple symbols instead of letters, or sometimes images to represent supplies, which may seem somewhat similar to pictures, but we never had anything like mere decorations with no meanings. It feels strange to look at images made from different shapes combined for no particular purpose. I haven't visited it yet, but I heard there's a place here called a museum where they display all kinds of these meaningless images. Around town, apart from meaningful illustrations in advertisements, there are also paintings with seemingly no purpose at all. Each time I encounter this, I wonder what purpose they serve, and it feels odd. Are there really people here who make a living by painting? I imagine that even in the future, there are people whose job was to create images to convey information, like to show supply information, but those had a clear purpose. It's strange to think of a society that values people whose profession is to create things without any informational content. Perhaps it means that people here had the luxury to support such professions until the surface world became unusable. Some of the paintings on the outskirts of the town seem to be mostly ignored by passerby, so I can't quite understand their purpose. But artwork is unexpectedly common in various places, so perhaps that indicates how necessary it is. I'm not sure how I should view or interpret these pictures, what I'm supposed to feel, or if they're actually there for a reason, but it really makes me think about how different the culture here is. Today, I decided to go to a place called a supermarket instead of the nearby convenience store. The supermarket had a larger variety of foods than the convenience store. I decided to buy something called a bento that was being sold there. I had an image of what a bento is in my mind, but I wasn't sure about the names of each item inside. It had white rice with a small red circular object on top. This red object was extremely salty and sour, and just a small bite made my mouth tingle. I took a small bite and ate it with a lot of rice, but I could only manage to eat about half of it. There was also something long, hard, and brown that was difficult to bite into. This, too, was quite salty and had a strong flavor. The items I bought today, except the rice, tasted rather salty overall. It felt like typical food here, There was also a piece of grilled meat, and a bit of a vegetable was placed underneath it. The meat was a large chunk cut into pieces, and it was somewhat tough. It was different from the meat in the future, as though they were using a whole cut here.